Everybody. It's nice to see all of you. I hope everybody is in Shata and everyone is having a great Paryushan so far. Um, so my talk is on Bharat versus Purshad and the story of Vipul and Vijan. Whenever I read this story, I always thought of how it related back to Bharat and Purshad, and I'll explain kind of how I made that connection between the story and then the Jain principles. So I'll start with the story first. Um, Vipul and Vijan were two best friends that lived in a village, and one day they were wandering in a forest, and they were wandering and they got super lost in the forest. They were like really deep inside of the forest and they didn't know the way out. And so while they were wandering, they encountered an old hermit in his hut. And this hermit was very famous in the village because he was known for predicting people's futures, and he could predict people's futures just by looking at them. But eventually he got tired of everybody asking him to predict their future, and he went and stayed in the forest, deep in the forest where no one could find him. So Vipul and Vijan, they were also lost in the forest, and this hermit found them, and he let them stay for the night. He gave them shelter and food and water. And the next morning, before Vipul and Vijan got ready to leave, they politely asked the hermit to tell them their futures. Now, at first, the hermit said no because he didn't like using his powers to tell people their futures. But Vipul and Vijan insisted, and eventually the hermit told them their future. So, first for Vipul, he said that in a year, Vipul would be king. And for Vijan, in a year, Vijan would die. So, those are at the very opposite ends of the spectrum. One is extremely good and really good for Vipul, and the other one is horrible for Vijan to hear. So both these friends, as they were walking back, one of them was super excited, super happy that he was going to be king in a year, and the other very gloomy because he just heard that he was going to. Back to the village, they both started behaving very differently. Vipul became extremely arrogant, and knowing that he would be king, he started telling everybody what to do, and he threatened to chop people's head off if they didn't listen to him because he would be king in a year. And so he was behaving in this very arrogant manner. But Vijan, who was a teacher, he kind of, after some time, accepted his fate. And instead of becoming scared that he would die, he decided to put as much time as he could into praying and social work. He continued to be a teacher, and he continued to learn about Jainism, and he continued to pray. Um, 6 months after this prediction, Vipul asked Vijan to accompany him to the site of where he would build his palace. So they walked to this site, and they found a pot of gold. Vipul found a pot of gold at the site. He was very happy to find this pot of gold, and he was thinking that he would use that to buy a crown when he became king. But they were not alone when Vipul found the pot of gold, and a robber appeared out of nowhere and tried to take the gold by force. Luckily, Vijan was skilled in self-defense, and he helped protect Vipul and himself from the robber. And he ended up getting to keep the gold. So he was very grateful to Vijan. He offered to share half of the gold with Vijan, but Vijan declined, saying that he would be dead in 6 months, so there was no point in him getting the gold. So time went on, 6 months passed by, and it was weird because Vipul wasn't king and Vijan hadn't died. So they were both very confused and they went to go seek out the hermit. And when they found the hermit, he said that both of their destinies had changed because of the way that they had behaved over that one year. Because Vipul had behaved very arrogantly, and was very rude to everybody around him, the prediction and the destiny of him becoming king was reduced to him only getting a pot of gold. And because Vijay was very kind to everybody around him, he continued to immerse himself in teaching and prayers. His death turned into just a wound, as you see in this picture, just a wound from the thief. And so both of their destinies changed because of the way that they acted. And that's kind of how that ties in to Prarabdha and Purushad. So Prarabdha means karma or external circumstances, and Purushad means self-effort. These are two of the five samvais, and a samvai is a cause behind any life event. So all five samvais can explain anything that happens in your life. It's kind of anything that happens in your life is based off of one of the five sambhais. And so what's really interesting in this story is both Vipul and Vijan had their prarabdha decided. They had their karma decided. And that karma told and the karma was revealed for both of them, right? One of their karmas would manifest into them becoming king, and the other one's karma would manifest into him dying. But because of the differing levels of Purusharth that both of them put in, their destinies actually changed. And that's what's really important in this story, and the moral of this lightning talk is that karma is definitely something, and it plays a role in what happens in your life, but it is not everything. And through your own self-effort, you can change the effects of karma. And so this is a really interesting quote that I found online. A person cannot progress if he or she depends on time or nature or destiny or karma, and if he or she does not put forth effort. And so depending on those other four is simply not enough. You have to put forth effort in order to achieve the goals that you actually want to see in life. You can't only depend on karma. And so that's my lightning talk and on Bharat and Burshard and how it connects to the story of Vipul and Vijan.